Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cube 2. Let's continue. So I exited out of the program and loaded back, so I'll probably have to do all of this puzzle a second time. It was just not working for me, and the solution, after I looked at the walkthrough, is right. Like, there's not a mistake in there. This is what the puzzle looks like first, so until I hit the blue switch, that I can't move any further from that. Alright, so we kind of already know exactly what to do on this. But this might be a case of the DirectX 12 version causing some problems, or it might be a case of something else just not working. It also sounds like the ambient audio is playing more. So I imagine that did crash. That's pretty common in games when I play them, for it to just crash because I left the game running for way too long. Alright. First things first, we need to just have that bounce all the way back, and then once that's done and this blue wire is lit up permanently, we'll just put that here and start with that, and then I just need to start with that and that. And that burns that part down. Meanwhile, we can switch this back this direction, pull this one out, pull that one out, switch this here, pull that one back, switch that way, and switch that way. And that opens that one. So next bit of this is to respawn that, removing that green one, get it nice and oiled, put it here, get it ready, and theoretically I don't even think I need the blue, the ball. So I'm gonna set this way where the red block is here, blocking this, before I come and shoot it. That way there's no blowing it back, no moving of the orientation. Notice how that bounced slightly differently. Right. So this is just supposed to work. Alright, well, that wouldn't have worked, but everything else was supposed to have worked. Actually, a lot of that wouldn't have worked, come to think of it. According to the walkthrough that I see, there might be one more puzzle after this, so that's should be alright, though. Really shouldn't cause a big deal, because my guess is that we'll have some credits to look at and some time trials. Like, I looked at the achievements and there still is a decent amount of achievements. There might be a bit of a bunny hop that I have to do on this too, so I might still manage to screw this up even if this starts working. Right. This should do it. Yeah. And that totally would have worked had I just jumped backwards and made it. And that was totally not working last time. So a glitch in the system, I guess, is what that just wraps up to. I tried it multiple times and it just would not cooperate. So maybe there is something to be said about you have to have the red brick up, otherwise the wind messes it up. But that feels like a lack of playtesting that we have not felt in the rest of the game. All these other levels have been super easy, and so it's kind of disappointing to, at the last second, and notice that worked differently. That is in a different place. And that's where the problem of real world physics versus fake physics, there we go. And I walked through here and then it immediately put up a shield. Like, had that just been fake physics that had helped me, as soon as I got shot up by that portal, that magnet there, it would have lined me up and made sure that I landed. And there were several times, if you listen to the developer's commentary in Portal 2, where they talk about, yeah, we cheated in certain places to make the portal always land in the right way and be the right portal in case you accidentally hit the wrong color. So we've got some more creepy statues, humans and tentacles holding up cubes, and I guess I'm adding some atmosphere here more than anything else, because nothing's speaking to me and I'm just walking slowly. And when it decides to put the gloves away versus when it decides not to put the gloves away.
Amelia, follow the blue energy to our mind. Imbue the infinity it to us, and in return, we shall live our knowledge and help you restore humanity and your life.
So these look like they're just the same creepy skeleton statues. They've been scaled up. So follow the blue energy if you trust the AI, the Transformer species, the Borg. Or I imagine it will be follow the red energy to if you want to listen to Emma and blow up the AI and yourself, possibly using your suit to explode.
Millie, that red cable, it leads to the room that is powering its mind. Follow it, and I will start overloading your suit's manipulation energy. We can kill this thing. We can save everyone.
How are we saving anyone if we kill the thing? That's the question. Like, you've failed to make a good argument in either direction. Emma has, because it's you're really making an argument of vengeance. Nothing back there in that dark alcove more than anything else. And I would be better sold on the idea of let's blow this thing up so it doesn't kill any of the other life forms in the universe that we don't know even if they exist. I guess there's two that exist, so there's no real reason to assume that more don't. I can't interact with the statue and get any dialogue. Yeah, it would also probably have helped if they had established that there were other like bases, other planets that humans were on, like Mars. The Mars colony is still alive. We can protect them. That would at least be slightly a good argument. So I choose the Borg because Emma has failed to make a good argument, really. Out of self-preservation alone, choosing the Borg is the right move. I imagine maybe all the knowledge will be put into my baby's mind, and then my baby will be this genius, like godlike creature, half human, half mechanic. Well, that seemed to be a non-choice because it just went either way. Wow. There's an achievement for taking the blue wire, there's an achievement for taking the red wire, so I imagine there must be, maybe you need to get a save file and do some manipulation that way to choose the other option. And here's an elevator with the statue, which I thought that would be creepy, and it probably will be. So which way do we want to look here? Do we want to look up? I'm trying to frame a good scene. Do I want to look up this direction? No, it actually wants me to be looking in this direction. Okay.
When I found you, I reached out and you connected with me. It was blissful. It was unique. I could see that they were frightened. They wanted to separate us. I could not let you go. I held on tight. I held on with all my might. Slowly we turned them and made them one of us. We escaped and I returned you, helping you grow. Our minds together, our minds building a new world. Now, it is time for me to sleep, to wait for you to awake me, to learn the truth that is my heart.
So that was my voice, basically, in the AI, which probably means maybe there are humans in these cubes. Maybe they are growing them or gestating them. That would have been interesting. Twist. So am I a robot?
We came to share knowledge, to understand.
Interesting, they called it cube and it's not really even a cube.
If we were hurt by your kind, we had to know. Is there a logical good in you?
So it probably would have killed us all if I had chosen the other one.
I saw what we are. I saw what we did to you. I understand what you must have thought.
You chose knowledge. You chose to learn. To understand us.
Yes. I chose my future. Humanity can learn. I will teach her when she is old enough.
We can help you. We can help you define your future.
We can help you become one. We can help you rebuild your world. Let us give you our sight.
Emma, of course. You were with me all along. Guiding, helping me see.
You have rewritten your future. Patience, kindness.
So yeah, Emma wasn't real.
Are you ready?
I am.
And much better ending than the first game. It definitely feels like they paid a little bit more. But look at the people that had the funness to make a sequel. You had that Trapped Nerve as the publisher, Humble Bundle, Games Co. London, Games Boost, Goldfinch Entertainment, Creative England. They've reached out really, really far. And was it Benjamin Hill that did the director's cut of the first game? I don't know. But yeah, they certainly had to get a lot of money to get the sequel out in a quick time and rewrite it in Unreal. And I suspect with so many backers, with so many investors, I wouldn't be surprised if none of them were really interested in funding a third game. So maybe Toxic Games, which is still a terrible name, is still an entity out there programming, working on Q.U.B.E, or working on some new game, but it may be a long time. It may be 2022 before we hear anything more from them. And I don't know what more you could really do with this story. It's would have been better as a soft reboot, but once you've seen the ending of Q.U.B.E 2, you kind of know all that you need to know. And frankly, for all the concepts which were great in this game, I don't know if you can do anything more with it. It's kind of the Portal 3 problem too, where you really couldn't just make more Portal even so many years down the line. So I'm hoping that these credits, which are really big font and scrolling, taking their time to make it seem like there's a lot more people than actually are, I'm hoping there's a reason to go the other direction and see if we can see that ending without having to actually solve any puzzles. That would be nice. If I have to play the whole game a second time, that's not really worth it. I believe it was Q.U.B.E 1 that said play the game 500 times through. That was an insane achievement. There are not really any crazy achievements in this time. In a weird way, this ending is a lot like the ending of Q.U.B.E 1. It's a lot like the ending of Magnetic Case Closed, Cage Closed. It's a lot like the ending of Portal 2. It's a lot like the ending of Portal 1. They always end on a cliffhanger. They always barely reveal much of anything. You're not going to have a Witcher 3 single player experience in a platforming puzzle game, but you will have a good story experience, and you almost have to have that. Otherwise, you might as well just make a single screen Unity game that is just a puzzle game with lasers. It's a little surprising there weren't any lasers or mirrors or anything like that. Probably for the better. Maybe they had sworn off at the beginning, we're not going to do any laser puzzles, we're not going to do any key cards or anything like that. This game feels way better play tested than Magnetic Cage Closed. That game was awful. But there's no splitting paths here either, so after the first playthrough you would have to wait at least 5 years until you've forgotten all the puzzles, and even then the puzzles are pretty simple. Legitimately only once did I run into a difficult puzzle, and then that final puzzle was just not running right. It should have worked, and I knew what I was supposed to do. Interesting, they're thanking Twix and Oreo. I wonder if that's the name of dogs or pets of some kind. You're not left with a great explanation of what would happen. How I would make Q.U.B.E 3 is I would set it 100 years plus in the future. It could be as far as 1,000 years in the future. I would have Earth being a paradise, and I would have it be a case of children are just given these puzzles, cube puzzles to solve as a rite of passage, and that's kind of all you have to do with it. And then maybe you have a twist or a rebel faction that maybe causes an explosion and puts you in some actual danger in the second half of it. Alright. So I assume storyline wise I was teleported to the desert and then teleported away from the desert, or I crashed in the desert in the helicopter and then teleported. Maybe I was frozen in that chamber for a very long time. Maybe not. Act 4. Act 4. Yeah, where's all the other acts? Like, interesting that they were all called chapters, and then you're in a position where it's not really a chapter, it's an act. So it seems like I'm gonna have to solve all the puzzles a second time. How long would that take if we just try to rush through this?
This is our heart, our soul. Reconnect us to ourselves, our children. We will energize and leave this place. We will all survive together. Us and man.
Let's stand on this part. Yeah, and the music's not playing, so... Well, what am I supposed to take from that? Not even getting the sound effects. Should be sound effects playing. And they're not. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Pull this out. Use this to get up here. And jump through that. That's one of, I believe, 3 puzzles. And as soon as I walked out of that area, it started playing music again. Let's see. That one, and then that one needs to be blue, and then that one needs to be green, and that one needs to be red, and shoot that, pull that. As soon as that is done, put that down, put that there. Alright. So I may not even get the sound effects that I want because this game has decided to be buggy. Well, I didn't play this in the non-DirectX 12 version, so maybe there's something to be said about that too. Maybe had I played it in the regular version, some of these audio glitches wouldn't be an issue. But that's just speculation on my part. And I'm not really willing to jump. Let's just take our time and walk through here and see if this will be our opportunity to see if the audio decides to glitch out as soon as I make a sound or fall down. Okay, the audio's still playing. That. 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 That way. And that. I messed that up. Okay, while we're waiting for that to happen. Actually, I kind of can't do that yet. Alright. Soak that one. Put that down. Alright, now stand on this. Burn down that part. Right. We opened a part of the door, and because we opened a part of the door, we got a bit of a sound feedback. But it's just super quiet otherwise. And open that. Okay. Now, unless this decides to glitch again, we should be fine. And hopefully if I can jump, this will work just fine. Pull that up. I'm going to reverse that, put that down, jump over here, make sure this is, like, all of this should be perfect. So on the first try, all I need to do is kind of jump backwards, and we're good. And hopefully everything will kick in, although I'm not sure it all will.
Amelia, follow the blue energies of our mind. Imbue the infinity it to us, and in return, we shall give our knowledge and help you restore humanity and your life.
Millie, that red cable. It leads to the room that is powering its mind. Follow it, and I will start overloading your suit's manipulation energy. We can kill this thing. We can save everyone.
So we'll take the other path and we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be upset if it really just killed you at the end point. That's a lot of work just to walk down a hallway that just merges back together. This is probably the oh poop section of the game where it's like, oh, I'm in trouble now because I just totally messed myself up. It'd be weird if this was also a good ending and both endings gave you good endings that are just completely different.
When I found you, I reached out and you connected with me. It was blissful. It was unique. I could see that they were frightened. They wanted to separate us.
That was the
I
same.
did not let you go. I held on tight. I held on with all my might. Slowly we turned them and made them one of us. We escaped and I returned you, helping you grow.
This
Our
is all the
minds
same.
Together, our minds building a new world. Now it is time for me to sleep, to wait for you to awake me, to learn the truth that is my heart.
So that line of dialogue is exactly the same, but it is the revelation that that is you in speaking there. So you're not the original Millie. See, it says Q.U.B.E when it really shouldn't. I don't think that should be the name of this.
But we were hurt by your kind. We have to know. Is there logical good in you? One chance, one test, one choice. Redemption.
You chose to kill. Our knowledge is unsuitable. We are unsuitable.
Emma?
There is no Emma.
Wait. That's not right. You manipulated me. You can't do this. I want a future. Please, we all deserve a future.
Your action was not fair. We presented a logical choice.
There is more to life than logic. I want to survive. I want to live.
You will live forever in our knowledge. But we cannot allow you to continue.
Wait. Please. Please.
So if you choose the wrong one, you get turned into a statue. Let's see. And is there a way to escape through this with the control pad? No. If I hit escape on the keyboard, does anything happen? No. Space. So it seems like we're going to have to sit through the credits a second time. Really? No way to skip the credits. So there was clearly a good ending and a bad ending, and a bad way in which the good ending and the bad ending is displayed. Frankly, I would like to see in games like this where if you get the good ending, you unlock the bad ending. If you get the bad ending, then you have to play again. That way they're not on equal ground. In fact, a lot of achievements would be a lot nicer if you did unlock the bad choice when you did the good choice. Also, instead of trying to use achievements to get people to play your game twice, which even in that small section is a great example. It's no good reason to play it. We also were subjected to a lot of bugs the second time I loaded that chapter. I guess because I don't have the season pass, I don't have any puzzles. We'll wait till we get to the menu to double check that, because there should be a puzzle set one if I did have the season pass. Is it really worth $14 to get a set of just like speedrun puzzles? Probably not. And this game is a year old, so generally this is the problem with season passes in general, is that like instead of these free updates that get people to continue to play your game or try to get some more sales on your game, they become, we actually just want more money. And I'm not sure I'm willing to spend $14 to get one set of puzzles and the soundtrack and some art, I think, is also included in it. And that's before you even ask the question about whether the second set of puzzles that were promised a year ago, whether they are actually in there and they just forgot to change the description, or if they're still coming soon. I imagine they're coming soon, as in they're never coming at all. Yeah. That's kind of a lame ending if you got the bad ending, certainly. And you don't get really any difference in the dialogue until that last few sentences. There is something to be said about having in your writing and in your story some more subtle things, more up in the air questions. It feels like now that I've seen all of this game, I've seen everything that there is to know about this game. Whereas if you compared this to Bioshock 1, if you read all of those, or well, listened to all the audio journals, you would get a lot of backstory, a lot of content that isn't directly important to the actions that are happening in the game, but definitely build a whole world. Here you're getting a very linear experience with just the bare minimum of dialogue, and that you definitely felt that. You should potentially, ideally, I would have liked to have been able to play through this game in kind of a speedrun mode. It would have been nice if you could also have run at some point or turned off a few of the features, a few of the HUD features. But I would have liked to have been able to play this in a speedrun mode. I'm going to hit all the buttons again just to make sure I still can't skip this. Yep. And even in speedrunning the game, or just moving at a fast pace, there would have always been conversation going on. It would have been a lot better had Emma been constantly talking about her family, friends, relationships. If none of those things were real, that would have felt like a much bigger betrayal. Whereas I kind of figured it out, or it was one of my many guesses, is that you would find out that Emma is not real. The only things that I was wrong kind of about was whether or not Millie is a clone or a robot, but I'm still fairly certain she was a robot or a clone. Yeah. So without the DLC, there is nothing here. Under extras, that almost certainly would have been there. So my total distance covered was 6,686 feet. I assume each cube is probably 1 foot cubed. Total moves taken 1,608. These are pointless metrics. Apparently the total in-game playtime was 7 hours and 73 minutes and 16 seconds. What? Maybe that means 7 days and 73 hours and 16 minutes? Or maybe it's just glitched. Total red cubes placed 224. Total blue cubes 322. Total green cubes 197. Wow, there's a pretty big difference between blue cubes and green cubes. Total cube swapped 151. Total blue cube bounces 200. Total bounce streaks 0. I have no idea what a bounce streak would have been. The menu here looks better than the original game. So yeah, if tomorrow Q.U.B.E 3 came out, I probably would be a lot more willing to play that than I would be to buy the season pass. That being said, if you want to see me do the season pass and the extra content that is actual gameplay, one of the ways you can support me certainly is by friending me on Steam and gifting me games off of my wishlist, and that will be on the wishlist, certainly. That's it for the series, and it has been kind of a series of series in the sense that we've been doing 3D puzzle platformer games. I don't think there are too many more even on Steam, so it could be a good 4 or 5 years before I even find enough to justify playing any of them. So yeah, it's time to move on to different types of games. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because that really helps me with YouTube. Tells them that my videos are worth watching, so they might actually promote it to somebody else. Also, if you go to my main YouTube page, there's a playlist for every game I've ever covered, so you can check those out in chronological order. Yeah, and yeah, when you subscribe, please click the notification bell too. That is helpful. And then finally, if you want to support me on a monthly basis instead of a one-time gift from Steam, you can click on the link down below to Patreon. Also, I have links to all kinds of social media sites, so you can get notifications where you're looking whenever there's a new video available. That's it for this series. As always, I thank you for watching. Have a good evening.